Let's jump right in. Good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday, December the 17th. Oh my goodness. Are these days going by so quickly or what? Okay, I am super happy to be here with you here in High Performer Lifestyle. Whether you're watching live or you're joining the replay or you're watching on YouTube or wherever you get this video, it's a pleasure to be in front of you. My name is Jessica Perez-Beebe. And I often work with driven, ambitious entrepreneurs, mostly coaches, mostly in the health and fitness industry. And here's why, because those of you who are driven, who are leaders, who are typically the one that is inspiring others, that is coaching others, that is being that rock for your clients, for your family, you also need someone who can hold you high, help you 10x your goals, help you put your own personal goals, your business goals, your fitness goals front and center. Because if you're watching this and you fit that description, I know that at some point in your life, and maybe this is the time, you've hit a plateau, right? You've hit a plateau maybe in your business, or you've hit a plateau in your own fitness, in your own personal goals. And it happens, right? It happens. You've either hit a plateau or you've gotten to that point where you've been putting so much out and doing so much for others that you've forgotten to make those things a priority for you. And so that is who I tend to work with, right? People who are already successful and ambitious, but maybe find themselves falling short in one area. And I love, 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 love working with athletes and fitness entrepreneurs because you've got the athlete mindset. So I don't have to pull you along, right? I don't have to convince you that going all the way and that sticking to your goal is the fruit on the other side, right? Because so often people do quit before they hit their goal. And so why am I talking about all this? I'm going to tie it all together. But I was in service the other day. My daughter and I go to this little local church, community church. It's like a non-denominational, and it's just so sweet and family oriented, and they do so much stuff for the community, and I just love being in that energy. And the pastor was talking about, like, what most of you guys know right now, the season of Advent. If you know, if you don't, who cares, right? But he was talking about how this is the season of anticipation. It's the season of anticipation of what's to come. And what it got me thinking about is, like, how are you thinking? How are you thinking? What are you expecting? What are you anticipating? Because I know for sure, I know this for sure. I've tested it. I've lived by this for the past 20 plus years as I've studied deeply the brain and mindset and law of attraction. And I see it in I use it in my method. I see it with clients. I see it with friends. Whatever we are expecting, whatever we are anticipating is what is there for us. It's what we are manifesting. It's what we are creating more of. Even I was listening to Joel Osteen on the radio yesterday, and I say this because I had a client who was asking me, is, law of attraction and, that kind of language, does that have a place like in the Christian world and in the Bible? And I was like, well, every time I hear Joel Osteen speak, or my pastor, they're constantly talking about how whatever we're believing for, right, is what happens. So it's the same thing. It's different languaging, right? And so what are you anticipating, right? This is the end of a year. It's the end of a year, not only the end of a year, but the end of a decade. We are going into a new year, a new decade. I love beginnings. I love beginnings. I know not many people like change, but I love it. Good morning, Daniela, Catherine, Isidro. Buenos dias. Thank you for being here. So I want you to engage with me, you guys. If you're going to be on here live and watching the replay, I want to hear from you. I want to see what's connecting with you. Throw your thoughts in there. Let's get this like fired up, right? I'm fired up in the morning. I don't know about you guys. When I open my eyes, I'm like, another day alive. When my feet touch the ground, I'm like, yes, another day to get to get better, to be of service. Actually, this morning I was like, oh, another day to become a better pack leader. I know that sounds crazy, but I'm reading all these, well, not all these books, but I'm right now I'm reading this one book about how to be the positive pack leader with your dog. And it's such a positive thing. It's really cool. It's understanding the language of the dog. Isidro, you will get this because for you understand and speak the language of the horse. And this particular person I'm reading her book, she actually was inspired by the guy that they call the horse whisperer and all of that. And she started doing that work with her dogs. Anyway, that's a little side note, but this is how high performers think. Right? How can I improve in this area of my life? Not just for myself, but so that I can be a better boss to my employees, so that I can be a better mother to my children, so that I can be a better wife, so that I can be a better pack leader, right? We think like this, right? And so when I wake up and I say, oh my God, thank you for another day, right? Like I'm ready to bounce out of bed. Most of the time I'm ready to bounce out of bed. Doesn't mean that sometimes I don't want to go back to sleep, right? Because it's all cozy and everything. But when you wake up and you say that and you think that, like, wow, another day for me to get better at my craft, another day for me to get in front of my audience, another day for me to become better as the leader of my dog and my pet. Like I'm anticipating improvement. I'm anticipating connection with other people, right? And so what are you anticipating? What are you expecting in this season of Advent, in this season of expectation, right? What are you expecting? Because what you begin to think about, or not what you begin to think about, what you think about and what you expect, that becomes what you believe is true. So it's how I was saying, we have the language in the law of attraction world, and the language sounds a little bit different, like in the Christian world or in the Bible world, but they're saying the same thing, right? They say what you're believing for, right? And so check yourself right now, December 17th, end of a decade. And a lot of people, like my spiritual friends that do all the cuckoo stuff that I love, are saying this new decade we're going in is like a whole shift. Apparently it's a whole shift, something we haven't seen in, I don't know, 100 years. Am I right on that? Who knows that? But the things that we desire and that we get deep enough with ourselves, we go inward enough and we pull that out and are brave enough to declare and say, this is who I am, this is who I'm stepping into, this is who I am becoming. Guess what? It's all there for you in this new decade. But you got to believe it. You got to believe for it. You've got to anticipate for it. Right? You've got to expect it. And then with those thoughts and that energy, you've got to start taking the actions that actually support that. Nothing happens without your action. Nothing does. As much as I love meditation and prayer and all of that, and boards and vision work, and none of it actually manifests without you moving in that direction. Right? So you have an opportunity here to leave what no longer serves you, leave it behind. This is the end of not only a year, but like I said, the end of a decade. 2020 is coming in, right? So what are you going to leave behind that has no place in your future expectation? What are you going to leave behind? I've done this for me. I mean, I literally have gone through this process for the last couple of months. And in the last week or so, and I suggest you do this, I've gotten really clear about what no longer gets to come with me, what habits, what ways of operating, right? There are things that are in you, just like they are that are in me, no matter how efficient we are, no matter how driven we are. Like I was saying earlier, I love working with athletes and people in the fitness industry who have, created like fitness results and stuff like that in their life because they know what it takes. They don't like boo-hoo the process all the way along because they know that the process doesn't always feel great, right? You find other ways to really enjoy it or to enjoy other things, but they know that they've got to go through some pain, some tearing up of muscle, some eliminating of food, right? Like they're okay feeling uncomfortable. And I love working with those people because they know that the prize is on the other side of that. Right? It's when the hard shit gets easy. That's what I'm talking about. So what is it in your life that you no longer need to take with you, right? That no longer gets to be a part of your 2020, right? So it could be in your personal life. It could be in your business. Where are the areas that you are holding yourself back that will not support you in what you're anticipating for? And you've got to be present to this, right? It's not about just waiting for things to happen. There's a time and a place for that, right? And it's really every day. Every day we're in an ebb and in a flow. We're in a dance, right? We lean in a little bit, we relax in a little bit. But it requires you to actually do the work. Don't look to other people to do it for you or to figure it out for you. Yes, look to people to inspire you, to coach you through, to motivate you, to help you see your blind spots. But at the end of the day, only you know what is inside of you. Right? People come to me for VIP days, for vivid vision sessions, and they're like, I just need to find my why. I need to get connected to that. And guess what? We do that work and they have breakthroughs and all of that. But guess what? I don't find it for them. They do. If they're closed in the process, it doesn't happen. And then, of course, it's what do they then do with it that makes the difference? So only you know what God has put in your heart to expect and desire and believe for. Only you know. Even your spouse, your children, your closest friends, they can't see it, right? They may see things in you, but only you know what you really have inside of you. And you've got to be willing to go there. You got to be willing to ask yourself what that is. You got to be willing to tune out the noise. You got to be willing to stop asking everybody for their opinion and just get clear with you and your God, your maker, your spirit, whatever that is. Because I'm telling you, this new decade that's coming up, like whatever transpires in these next 10 years of your life, you're laying the foundation right now. And think about it. If you build a house on a certain foundation, then, a few years from now, you realize, shit, this foundation is crumbling, right? So I've got this beautiful house on top, but the foundation is crumbling, or maybe even the house looks like shit, right? And you're realizing you didn't do it the right way. Well, think about how much more difficult it is to now tear down the house, redo the foundation. Right now, you get to lay the foundation for how you want the next 10 years of your life. And then back into it, right? Like talking to my marketing manager for our 2010 plan or 2020 plan. I went back a decade. I love how she talks about, we put together the big vision. And those of you who are running a company and you have a team already, like you're not in the solopreneur just starting stage, I suggest you get the book. What's it called? Hold on. Traction. I suggest you get the book Traction by Gino Wickman because he talks about this too, and it's so powerful. But we talk about like, what is the big goal, and then back into it. So often people want to build their business or their fitness goals by this day, like the to-do list, right? Like this day I'm going to go to, I'm going to lose 10 pounds. I'm going to go to the gym, and they're focused on the day-to-day, to-do list. I've talked about this before, but it doesn't work that way. You've got to start with where are you going and why? Because if you don't know why, and you're not fired up by your why, and you're not plugged into that and inspired by that, then along the way, it's easy to just get sidetracked because you forget why. I was just interviewing my bodybuilding coach because, well, it doesn't matter, but I was interviewing him and asking him some questions about like, why is it that people don't start a fitness a protocol or don't stay on. And he said, number one reason that they don't stay on it is because they didn't have any real why. They didn't have any real connection to why they were doing it, right? It wasn't enough to keep them going, right? So what I'm saying to you is anticipate, expect what you want. That's the vision, right? You're starting out there. And then you can back into it, right? That's what we call like setting rocks or setting, setting the goals that support the big 10X vision, right? That support whatever that anticipation is, right? So I want you to think like that. Think bigger, right? And declare right now if you're watching this, what are you expecting for? What are you anticipating? I'm anticipating an overflow of abundance. And I don't mean money. I don't mean just money. Money is like a byproduct of the things that I get excited about. I never worry about money. Even when I didn't have money and when I was broke, quote unquote, broke, behind on bills, even when my credit score was like 500, now it's perfect, whatever excellent is, right? Like even then, I never worried about money, right? I expected for more. I anticipated for more. And then because of that anticipation and that expectation, I started to back into what are the actions I get to take. It starts with this. For 2020 and this decade coming, I am expecting for such audaciousness. I am expecting to feel like the anointed one, right? Like I'm expecting to be out there making big connections with thousands and millions of people. I am expecting for like the best decade of my marriage. I'm expecting for abundance and growth and connection in my family. I'm expecting for my relationship with my daughter to be like through the roof. I'm expecting for beauty and grace. I'm expecting for my fitness level to be just off the charts, right? I'm expecting for wins. I'm expecting for even when things might take a dip, and they will, right? Like days will be harder than other days. Months will be a little more challenging than others. I may lose people in my life. I may have an illness, right? All of these things may happen. I'm not expecting for them. They may happen, but guess what? Through it all, regardless of what's coming, the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, I am expecting for triumph. I'm expecting for abundance. I'm expecting for beauty and love and grace and growth. And so I'm expecting for all of that, and it's there for me. So what are you expecting for? Declare it right now in the comments, and I'll be back on here to engage with you. And hey, listen, those of you who are entrepreneurs, who are driven, who are ambitious, and you know that you would quantum leap your results in 2020 by having the support, the coaching and the structure and the encouragement and the watchful eye of a driven coach and team like myself to help you hit your goals, send me a personal message. We have a huge reveal coming, but for those of you who are like, I want this now, I'm ready, you're an action taker, I've got something so super sweet for you. I promise you don't want to miss that. So send me a private message and we'll get right back to you. Have a blessed day, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.